Wednesdays back in the building. Missed y'all, man. Give everybody a chance to jump in. So creative in the building. I would wave, but the camera's always over there. I didn't get that technical yet. Give it about 2 more minutes, then we'll get started. As always, don't want to keep you guys too long. Just want to drop a few jewels. I know we've been on a hiatus for a while, but we're back. All right, so I'm gonna just not yet. No, but I'm gonna jump into it, man. My name is Brett Parker, the Urban Accountant of Parker Financial Services. Just a little history about myself. I am a certified business coach. I hold a master's degree in accounting. I've been a serial entrepreneur for the last 13 years now. So a lot of things. I was on calls earlier today, um, and wanted to talk to you guys about building a team. You know, years ago, I'll just tell you my story. Years ago, I started out by myself. Um, One man wrecking crew, and as the business grew, I didn't really know how to grow with other individuals. So for a while, I was just like bringing on people to help out, but really didn't have any wasn't looking for growth. I just needed people to fill slots, and I can tell you like that didn't really work because it felt like I was doing double work. And I see that a lot when people say, hey, I just need to hire, I need to hire. But I think you need to start hiring with the emphasis of growth, and seeing what those individuals bring to the team. And that's just something I wasn't doing. Like I was just running through employees because like I kept changing up what needed to be done. They weren't clear what needed to be done. Really wasn't any value added. And as time went on, it felt like I was working backwards and not forward. And I was hiring, within, family, friends, and we'll talk about that a little later. The pros and cons of that, and what you need to do to be effective when hiring family and friends. But I just felt like I was working backwards. I was double working. There really wasn't any clear boundaries of who was in charge. Sometimes employees felt like they were in charge, and it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm ready to just go back to doing it on my own. Um, but I really sat back and thought about it and said, how can I make this thing more effective? How can I maximize when bringing on team members? And I'm talking from a hiring perspective, and we'll kind of cover also when you're looking for team members, not just so much in the realm of people working under you, but people working next to you. Um, but I would say definitely dependent upon the business, it can be beneficial. Sometimes a lot of people like to hire a group of people that everybody does the same thing, and while that's good, but statistics has shown that with people with the same like skills, while you'll probably be around longer, growth is usually a little slower because there's no everybody knows the same stuff. There's no diversity in that group, and I mean the statistics show when diversifying your team, growth can be quick, but the fizz out can be quicker. So you got to find that median that works for you. But I'm at the point, and I think a lot of people should really look into um, hiring or bringing on members of your team that fill gaps where you're not good at. If marketing is not your strong point, it may behoove you to team up with somebody that's in marketing, and that's their strong point, and it really help the business more. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like a lot of times, people are trying to wear as many hats as possible, and while that is fine, it does cause burnout, and if it's not your area of expertise, you could be losing more than gaining. So diversifying is, pretty well when hiring or building a team, a group of people coming together with the common goal, whether it's to be more profitable, whether it's for growth, whether it's to make the business look attractive to sell. But I'm a big proponent of hiring and diversity, hiring people with better strengths. I myself, I'm not the most organized, so I went out and found someone that is way more organized than me. She keeps me on track, and it works for me. That was something I was trying to figure out back in the day. How can I become more organized? How can I become more organized? And I talked to a mentor, and he says, I mean, you need to work on it, but won't you hire someone that's their strength point? So went out and I really found somebody that was way more organized than me, and that's working. When it comes to marketing, I enjoy sales. I love talking to people, but getting in front of people, getting the content in front of people is really not my strong point. And just as of recently, we brought on a group that handles marketing. They're not working directly for the team, but I'm subbing that out to a group, and that's my marketing department now. So I'm kind of building a team now for growth where everything doesn't fall on me, and I believe that's something a lot of companies they fail to do. And like I mentioned earlier, we're jumping to like hiring friends and family. A lot of pros and cons with that. A lot of times family and friends, um, they feel entitled. They feel like they shouldn't have to work as hard. They they may want to take advantage of you. I've seen a lot of jealousy been bred between family and friends, working together as a team. So, I mean, if I can give any advice on hiring family and friends or teaming up with family and friends, be clear on roles. A lot of times people aren't clear on roles. Whoever's going to be CEO, CFO, COO, if you're going with those titles, or operations manager, etc., be clear on the roles of who does what, who has the final say on what. You guys meet and just be open. And the main thing is making sure that you guys have the same common goal. I've seen, for instance, I worked with a group maybe 2, 3 years ago where it was two young ladies knew each other very well for a very very long time, and as it came down to it, they both had two separate visions for the company. One person wanted to get started here, and one wanted to she wanted to relocate down south eventually. The other one wanted to start here and really build it up here. So it kind of, I'm not going to say it was doomed from the start, but it was tough because they weren't operating in the same with the same common goal in mind. So one was operating for growth and moving, one was operating from growth and staying here. So I think it's like really be clear on what goals you guys have. What goals do you guys want to achieve and accomplish? And setting boundaries and roles. That's a good thing when working with a team, knowing who does what, who has the final say. If there's a split vote or a tie, who has the final vote? If you got people working in IT, which is not my strong point, if I'm meeting with a group and a team, and we really can't come to a common ground on what software to use, whoever's in charge of IT, obviously, I'm going to give them the final nod on that because that's their department. If we're looking at, systems for appointments, whoever's in charge of operations, I'm going to give them the final nod on that because at the end of the day, the common goal is to win. So clarity and boundaries, I would say, is the main thing with working with family and friends, and just be careful. Just because you guys had the same idea doesn't mean you guys have the same work ethic. I see that a lot with family and friends where one person may be working harder than the other. Um, and when it comes down to compensation, just because we're 50-50, did we really put in 50-50 work? So, like I said, and that's just overall with teams, setting expectations, setting the boundaries, knowing the rules. That's what I would say with building a team, especially with family and friends. Um, Next, success. Like I think when you have a group of people working together with the same common goal, you're able to touch more people. You're able to reach more people. I think the company is represented well because you only can be in one place at one time. So when you got a team and maybe a team of five, you guys can kind of spread out, meet different people, talk to different people. But most importantly, when you have a team and there's multiple members, I would advise that you find out what network does this each individual team member have? Like who are they connected to? Who can they bring in to help you guys company out? And that's something like I learned that over time where it's not about just bringing on people because they're cool. It's not about just bringing on people because they have the skill set, but what can we use from your outside network? So, with dealing with a team, you can be in multiple places at the same time, and then utilize the resources. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine and they were looking for a connection with the city. And this is down in Atlanta. And lo and behold, someone I work close with, they are related to that person. So, just getting them in the same room, but really just utilizing your network. And I've seen a lot of times where people come together as a team and they kind of cut their outside network off. But once again, if we're trying to, achieve a certain goal, utilize that network. So really just, making sure that you guys building a team with a group that can touch other people, get in touch with other people. Basically like building a spider web. You build from the inside out. And like I said, if you got somebody covering the IT portion of a company, get out there, see who they know. Check your phone, check your email list. Who do you know in the IT world to say, hey, John, I know IT is your department, but reach out to this person or that person. I've dealt with them in the past, and we've talked about a lot of IT things. I got some new people joining. Just to give a brief, recap, what we're talking about is, building a team and building a successful team for your company and how it can help you grow. So far, we've covered uh, hiring and bringing on people, uh, basically diversifying it, not having everybody doing the same thing. You want people to have special skill sets. We've covered thus far hiring family and friends. I urge not only with just any, hiring or bringing on any team member, especially with family and friends, setting clear rules, setting goals, setting boundaries, knowing which each person is going to do, what's their strength, what's their weakness, um, and basically just being clear, making sure you guys have the same common goal in mind. And next, we were just talking about if you just joined with team members, utilizing their outside networks for growth. I see that a lot where I've seen you, we may be selling clothing, and I see that you have somebody that's very popular on social media or whatever, but you're afraid to approach them and say, hey, can you rock our brand, your next photo shoot or whatever. Like if you had that connect and you really want to win, utilize that. Reach out to that person. So that's the thing about having a team. I think you have a greater network, um, than many. There's a lot of studies out there. I wish I could put it up there in the comments, but I would have to pull it up. But I'll probably just post it on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. But there's a study that shows uh, the success of a team when everybody knows the same thing, and then the success of a team when they actually don't know the same thing and specialize in certain areas, and then you can see how that network just expands, like it explodes to the people they've touched. And the study also shows how quick a company that had a team that all specialize in the same thing in a diversified team, and the results were like insane, of the team that diversified. So I mean, overall for me, I'm definitely a person that believes in a diversified team. I think when you're first starting out, it can be scary. I will be honest, it was a little scary for me to allow strangers into my company. I deal with a lot of like personal information, so I could be a little hesitant about allowing people in. But I just had to really say, okay, do I want this to stay where it's at, or do I want it to grow? And with growth, I just started to bring on people. I started to hire on advisors that had specialty roles that I lacked in for growth. And while we're not all the way where we want to be, we're getting closer. It's taken a lot of stress off of me. It was hard to give away some responsibilities and trust individuals to operate in their strengths. I'm doing that now. They feel a little bit more comfortable. They're happier because they don't just feel like they're working for a boss. I'm a little happier because it gives me a little flexibility and freedom to work on other things. So that's the thing about a team. It really can take some of the grind off you. I think I see a lot of entrepreneurs grinding harder than what they need to be. I urge you to get out there into different meetings. I urge you to get into different settings and meeting people. You might not find a person that's in marketing or engineering or web design that you know. It may be somebody from a college that's from half across the world. And that may work. You may need that. That gives you a different set of eyes. I love when I'm on these calls with people from across the world. I was on a call earlier today, and just hearing how things are done in India and how we do things here, and then even just hearing how things are done in Iowa and California. So just networking with those people, and a team doesn't always need to be somebody that's hired on getting paid. No, you guys all might be CEOs. You come together and say, hey, we want to make all our companies great. Let's meet from time to time. So that's the thing. Like, diversity, I think, is key. You can take it any way you want to, but it's time, if you really want to grow your business, it's time to just stop looking inside of what you have, just the people and get out and meet some new people. When you're hanging out, find out who does what, because you'll be surprised. You have a lot of people that want to be part of a company, but may not want to be the CEO. They say, hey, listen, man, I'm good at networking, I'm good at engineering, I'm good at marketing, I'm good at sales, but I don't want to be the front runner. You may be the person that's like, well, you know what? I want to be the front runner, but I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at networking. I'm talking networking. I'm talking, IT work. So that may work for you, But yeah, I just urge you, like I said, I'm going to repeat it again. Don't be afraid to diversify. Don't be afraid to meet new people. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. And that's like, I think that's if you want to really be successful at what you do, or your business, your brand, whatever you want to call it. Having a team is really going to help take you to the next level, especially if you guys are all on the same accord, shooting at the same target. I think it can be a harmonious, a beautiful, thing for your company. Any questions? I'm always good for questions. It's not always just a me talk session. People asking questions is good. So I got a question from one of our streams over here. Um, how do you compensate? How would you compensate members of a team? That's a good question. It doesn't always have to be 50-50. I've dealt with situations in companies where everybody doesn't bring in the same amount of capital, and intellectual property can be part of it. You may have the idea, but I may have the money. And, that's just a conversation, all right, when this thing really starts rolling, Are we 50-50? Are we 70-30? Um, how are we breaking this down? And there's a lot of studies where you can figure out how to break that down. I was trying to see if I can find the one that I've used in the past. Um, Let me just see here. Yeah, so it's not coming up, but it doesn't always have to be 50-50. It doesn't always have to be even. I think that's when people can be adults and figure, okay, it's a great idea, but I'm putting up 50 grand. Um, yes, without the idea, we don't have nothing. Yes, without the cash, we don't have nothing. And the good thing about a company, it doesn't have to be a 70-80 split. I mean, a 70-30 split forever. It don't have to be an 80-20 split forever. You can say, you know what, until we can recoup what you put into the company, it'll be 80-20. Once you're paid back what you put in, we'll revisit the table. We may go down to, 60-40, 50-50, or whatever. So, then I would always put a little bit of money to the side for future growth if you want to hire on other team members. Hopefully that answered your question. Um, Another question here. We started out as team members, it was going well, and then they just stopped working. How do I let them go? So that's when we come into, bylaws for the company. Are you guys, that's the thing about bylaws, they can be written any way you want them to be. Are you guys having meetings on the regular? What benchmarks are being set? I would suggest, setting benchmarks to say, hey, there's a minimum commitment of X amount of hours a week or a month. This needs to be done. If we're not hitting this goal, we can have a vote to um, either actually leave the company, you can get your money back, etc. But the bylaws of the company can be set up any way to have that extra strategy in place just in case you do come across a situation where it started out well, but it's not going so well. You don't have to stay in. And I think I've seen a lot of times where the bylaws aren't set to allow for an exit for a team member. Even and like while I'm there, I'll just talk about um, selling a company. One person may want to sell a company, one person may not want to. I think in the beginning, if you set those bylaws correctly, it can be a clause in it that says, okay, sell the company is on the table if we reach this point, or sell the company if the company goes down to this point. We agree that a possible sale is warranted at that time. So, like I said, with business, with your bylaws, you can get, with a lawyer, trusted accountant, trusted business advisor to help you really draft up some good bylaws to protect, the company going forward. So we run a little short on time. I'll take one more, maybe try to do two questions. Who should be the first team member hired if we're hiring, marketing, accounting? So I mean that's a good question. Basically, they're asking like, who should they add to the team first? Should it be someone in marketing? Should it be someone in accounting? Should it be someone in sales? And I'm imagining that this is a one person movement over there. So I'm gonna just speak from that point. Uh, I think the first person that I would hire as a team member, and it's not really a team member, would be a business advisor. There are, studies, there are assignments, there are quizzes and surveys that can kind of help you guide you to where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And I think that's where I would start to hire at. Just not because I'm just an accountant, I would say this, but sometimes having an accountant on board early in the game can help you. It can help with setting the correct budget to help you see, what can you afford to bring on as a team member. If you want to give a portion of the company away, how much can you afford to give away before, the company is, rock bottom, bankrupt, or, struggling. So I really would. I would advise, speaking with a business advisor, or if you know someone that's been in business and you feel they're successful, talking to them. But um, there are tons of surveys that can help you decipher who needs to be hired on first, or what team member should you go after first, um, for the success of your company. I think I got time for one more. We can do one more. Should all team members be local in the same area? Like I said, with technology, I think that's helped. I don't think everybody needs to be local. I think it all depends on how you guys work. Some people are more face-to-face workers. Some people are remote. You can do Zoom, or Teams, Google Meets, whatever it may be. That works. I've noticed that with working with people remotely, I think when you do come together, there's a sense of excitement to finally, be in the same room, get that good synergy going. So I think it has its pros and cons. But once again, like I talked about earlier, when you're working with people in different areas, it allows the company to be represented in different areas. So, you might have a teammate in California. Your company's represented in California now. You have a teammate in Florida. You're represented in Florida now. So it's just not, local. So I think that's all, up to the team on how you're comfortable meeting, whether it's, remotely or um, in person. So I wouldn't say that there's a right or a wrong thing to be local or remote. Um, but yeah, man, I want to get you guys out of here, let you get back to your days, running your business, growing your business, working your job, planning your exit from your 9 to 5, whatever it may be. Um, but yeah, just recapping, um, diversity is a good thing. I think with diversity, you'll see quicker results. I think with when you're hiring or building the team with everybody that has the same skill set, it can be a little tricky. Everybody knows it. Let's do it my way. But then I think where you lack at, there's no uh, outside vision. Everybody knows one thing. Just like in the accounting game, I wouldn't build a team just full of accountants. No, we want somebody in marketing. We may want somebody in law, because that'll allow us to um, touch different markets. When it comes to hiring family and friends, I definitely think being clear, setting clear goals, setting clear roles is definitely key to being successful. Um, like I said, when you hire family and friends, people can feel a lot of entitlement. The boundaries haven't been set correctly, and I think that's something that needs to be done. Uh, what else? We covered a lot today. I'm trying to run through it. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, you got any other questions, man? Feel free to hit me. DM me, email me, text me, shoot me a message on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. My goals here on Wealth Wednesdays is to encourage, educate, people in their business, their personal life. We're going to cover everything from growing a business to growing personally, financially, and mentally. So, man, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week.